Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. The news is now going from bad to worse for Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson. On top of polls showing his party is headed for landslide losses in the midterms, horrible numbers on the economy, and widespread anger at Donald Trump's war in Iran, now there is this.
Because the whole point is that I want to be independent, and I want to be able to, and it's consistent with the way, as I said, that I've represented my district before. But I'm going to be independent.
Headline: Rep. Kevin Kiley leaves GOP, further shrinking Speaker Johnson's majority. As CBS News reports, Kiley's switch means Republicans now hold 217 seats, compared with Democrats' 214 with 3 vacancies. Kiley is the only independent in the lower chamber. Kiley said he was frustrated with how Speaker Johnson handled the government shutdown last fall and angry at the fierce partisanship. As Kiley's departure shrinks Speaker Johnson's GOP majority, a growing number of Republicans say party policies, including from Trump, have put the GOP on a path towards an election wipeout.
I think the 2026 elections already, we are behind the 8 ball as far as the electoral process. I think if you add in high gas prices, high oil prices, and if we are still bombing Iran with kinetic action, people don't want to call it war, but if there's still kinetic action that causes oil to be over $100, I think you're going to see a disastrous election.
A disastrous election. And Speaker Johnson seems to know it. He's now panicking and pleading with conservative voters in epic fashion.
If we lost the midterms, heaven forbid, if we lost the majority in the House, it would be the end of the Trump presidency in a real effect.
The end of the Trump presidency, with Trump as the ultimate lame duck. That's actually a rallying cry for Democrats and most independents now. And Donald Trump's apparent health problems, fatigue, and possible dementia are not helping Republicans and Speaker Johnson. At the White House recently, as Johnson spoke at a roundtable discussion on college sports, Trump literally appeared to fall asleep.
We think we're very close. Everybody here wants to see this American institution succeed, and we have that opportunity within our grasp.
And Speaker Johnson is getting ignored or dismissed not just by Donald Trump, but also by members of Johnson's own House caucus. Several lawmakers away from the microphones pointed to Johnson's recent effort to try and minimize the U.S. military conflict with Iran.
We are not at war. We have no intention of being at war. The President and the Department of Defense have made this very clear. The Department of War has made it very clear. This is a limited operation. It's an operation that's limited in its scope and duration.
Except that Donald Trump is now threatening to put U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. And lawmakers who just attended a classified Trump administration briefing on Iran say the chances of an attempted occupation are growing.
We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran to accomplish any of the potential objectives here.
And the Trump objectives in Iran continue to be all over the map, as a seemingly anxious and stuttering Speaker Johnson recently listed.
We are taking down Iran's ballistic missile capability, its stockpile, and its ability to produce more. They were doing that at a scale and a speed that was more than our regional allies could keep up with, and it was a serious and imminent threat to the United States. We don't need to relitigate all that today. But also we wanted to take down the capability of their Navy, and all of that has been very successful. So this needs to continue.
Most Republican voters, though, like most Americans, are not buying the Iran war or the reasons for it. And you don't have to stray from Capitol Hill to find Republicans, members of Trump and Johnson's political party, who keep dismantling the various reasons for the war.
Where would war end if our goal is to free oppressed people? So I think that goal is too grandiose and would perpetually tie us up in war. Another statement has been made, well, they're a week away from a nuclear weapon. You can take clips from the 90s all the way through the present of people arguing that they're a week away from nuclear weapons. Then there were arguments made where their ballistic missiles are almost able to reach the U.S. But then our intelligence countered that and said, really, they would be 6 months to a year if they made that attempt. We were also told their nuclear weapons were obliterated, and now we're told their nuclear weapons are just moments away from being a bomb. So I guess I don't think the arguments are valid, and I think war should be the last resort, not the first resort. A war of choice is not my choice.
And again, polls show it's not the choice of most Republicans and most Democrats. So Speaker Johnson's House majority, his gavel, which has been precarious for weeks, is now in even deeper trouble. Surveys indicate a Democratic tsunami is coming that will wipe out the GOP House majority and possibly also give Democrats control of the U.S. Senate. Republican lawmakers are retiring in record numbers, and now a member of the GOP House just announced he is leaving the party and will run in the midterms as an independent. All of this is clearly making Speaker Johnson nervous and anxious because by most accounts, even according to countless Republicans, the days of Mike Johnson's GOP House majority are numbered. By the way, the Trump war in Iran is now causing the greatest oil shock in history, and gas prices in the United States are skyrocketing.
Seen a really epic rise in the price of gas, $3.48 right now. Just look, a week ago, it was below $3 a gallon, and it's dramatically more than it was last month and last year. The problem here is the price of oil. The price of oil overnight jumped above $100 a barrel.
Brent is up 12.5% right now. That is up to 104.30. Crude oil is up 12%. And if you look at this chart here, you can see that Brent is up 45% in a week.
And it's going to be worse for the price of diesel, which could jump 35 to 50 cents a gallon. That would put it close to nearly a $5 a gallon national average.
Diesel is what trucks use to transport most consumer goods. So the prices of all kinds of products are also about to rise. All of this is because of the war against Iran.
So the world is now a little more than a week into the largest oil disruption ever in history. The 20 million barrels a day that have stopped flowing from Hormuz to the world is twice the amount of the biggest last disruption, which was all the way back in the 1950s, believe it or not, the Suez Crisis.
Problem is, you've got these big oil producers in the region who have started producing less oil because guess what? Their storage facilities are full. They can't get them on any more ships because the ships are in the Strait of Hormuz. We are seeing a fifth of the world's energy supply just stuck, a bottleneck. A lot of experts, energy experts, never thought they'd see this, where you have maybe one ship in a week going through there when usually it's 80 ships a day.
Can't take another few weeks of this. I think we're going to see galloping further increases in oil prices, and it's going to start to hurt equities as well. So we all have to hope those tankers start up again.
A stock market that is clearly rattled by an escalating war in the Middle East. And the big concern is an inflation shock because of dramatically higher energy prices. You talked about that crude oil price topping $100 a barrel overnight. Let me give you the number for reference. Before the U.S. and Israel launched airstrikes in Iran, oil prices were $67 a barrel. So in a matter of just over a week, 10 days now, you've had a dramatic increase.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Learn, who wrote, filled up for $5.79 a gallon for regular. So much winning. Well said. I look forward to reading your comments about House Speaker Mike Johnson panicking as the problems facing him go from bad to worse. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.